Today I'm making white chocolate pretzel crust key lime pie. It's shut the front door delicious, and I'm giving lots of pearls away on this recipe techniques here that'll help deliver a great pie to your family and friends. We'll get right to the crust first. What I've got is, and I've got a recipe for you here, but it's basically 1 part pretzel, 2 parts graham cracker, half a part of white chocolate. Now, on this white chocolate pretzel crust, I like to use the white chocolate pretzels because the chocolate is thin on the pretzel and they're a little bit smaller than these pieces that I grated up. But I find that the pretzels in the store are always stale. And it's really important that you get a nice crisp crust here. So I use fresh out of the bag pretzel. I use Belgium white chocolate Calais, which are little chips. And I put the pretzels, the graham, and the white chocolate into the Roboku, and I blend it until I get a nice rough texture here like this. I mean, you can still see pieces of pretzel, but it's pretty well done. And then you add the sugar, the melted unsalted butter, and then I put 1.5 cups into a pie shell. I got a 8-inch pie shell here, I believe. And we pack that in there. You know, we keep our thumb at the top while we push in with our left hand. And we stick this in a 375-degree oven for 16 minutes. And what you end up with is this. You can see the color difference. This is nice and firm now, still crispy. I cooked this yesterday, and I let it cool off. And this is our prep. To make the key lime pie filling, we have 28 ounces, 2 14-ounce cans of sweetened condensed milk. You can use the coconut sweetened condensed milk for this if you're a dairy-free person. 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. I like to use the Greek yogurt because it brings a little bit more of sourness to the table. This is fresh squeezed lime juice, 3/4 cup. I got 1 tablespoon of lime zest, and I used a microplaner for this because a regular zester gets the piece is too big, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we start slowly. We mix this slowly. We don't want to get it all over the table. And once we get it start mixing, then we whip faster right in the middle. We kind of work that stuff on the outside of the bowl. What takes the most time on making this pie is making the crust and squeezing the lime juice. Now for this pie, you know, 3/4 cup of lime juice is about 10 limes because you get about 3/4 ounce per lime. If you're using key limes, which is a smaller lime, you'll probably end up using closer to 15, 16. And the difference between a regular lime and the key lime flavor-wise is the key lime seems a little bit milder. So now that we've got our mix and we've got this all smooth, we put this into our pre-baked shell, already cooled. And what I like about my key lime pie is they're thick. Okay, this filling recipe will work well for a 9-inch pie as well. Now this is going to go into the oven at 375 for 17 minutes, and it's going to set up. I don't have any eggs in my recipe. So you could make this without eggs, and you can make it without dairy if you use the coconut sweetened condensed milk. And we let that go 16 minutes. Make sure you set a timer for this because it's got to be exact. Now, I've pre-baked one ahead of time here. This one's cold, and see how it got firm and set up? That's what you're looking for. Now, we're going to make whipped cream to top this pie. What I got is I have 16 ounces of heavy cream, 40%. You want the 40% heavy cream. You want the ultra pasteurized heavy cream. And you start your mixer on slow. So if you're whipping heavy cream, and to keep it from spraying all over the kitchen, you don't have to turn it on full blast. You can go about medium, and you're still whipping air in. To this, we're going to add a 3-ounce container of powdered sugar. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of the vanilla. What you would like to do ideally is you'd like to cream the pie right before you're going to eat it. But if you need to make it ahead of time, using a little bit of gelatin will stabilize that cream and keep it set up. Now, I like to use sheet gelatin instead of powdered. And the reason why is I've had this gelatin sheet soaking in water, and it will only take in so much water. If you're using the granulated gelatin, it'll suck up as much water as you put into the cup with it. So I get a bunch of cold water, I put my sheet in here, and it's only going to take as much water as it can. The rest of the water won't get absorbed. So I'm going to pour this out, and I'm going to put this over some heat. And I'm going to mix this. Really easy to use. You notice how quickly that happens? We're looking at about a tablespoon of gelatin right there. And this is going to get poured. You know, the pan is warm, so it'll keep it nice and liquidy. You notice our cream is starting to get a little frothy here, so we can turn up the speed. As it thickens, we keep turning up the speed. If you want, you can wrap a piece of plastic around this or hang a towel and increase the speed so you don't spray your kitchen. And we're going to add the gelatin when it's about 3/4 of the way there. And we're going to show you what this whipped cream looks like before we add the gelatin. So like I said, if you're going to whip cream the pie and eat it right away, you really don't need the gelatin. But if you're making this pie in the morning for a dinner later in the evening, you should have just a touch of gelatin in there to keep that whipped cream from weeping and getting soft. All right, Zach, if you can come over here, you can see that our whipped cream is starting to create some ribbons. That's when we come in with the gelatin. And we pour the gelatin all in at once. Okay, you don't need to put that in a slow, smooth stream. You want to get it all in there so it can mix up. And you can tell that it's already affecting the whipped cream and starting to thicken it a little bit. Now there's only enough gelatin to keep this whipped cream set. It's not enough to make it turn into a gummy bear. You know, it's not going to be chewy. You can overdo gelatin, so you want just enough to make this stabilized. You tilt the bowl up just a little so we can get that bottom scraped. As you can see, we're starting to get firmed up here now. Something that you don't want to walk away from because you can turn this into butter before you know it. Now I'm starting to see fluffy peaks here. Let me get out of the light so you can see this, Zach. This is ready. And you can tell it's ready by when you pull the whip out and your whipped cream sticks to the bowl. All right, so I have my pastry bag here with a fine tooth tip. We fold the bag over at the top so we can use it to scrape our hand on. Like so. We're doing 6 rosettes. When you do a rosette, you don't push down, you lift up the bag. Then we put one in the middle. Then you take the nicest lime that you can find at the store, a nice dark green one, and you just cut it off the center line. You don't want that middle piece, that white piece there. You want just nice fruit. So when you cut this, you don't see that white membrane in the middle. And you cut these very thin, because these are really great to take off your pie and eat. And you set these wedges nice and clean on top of your whipped cream. And if you've used gelatin, they will hold just nicely. Now, a little trick that we use in the restaurant, we take the whipped cream and we put just a dab on the plate, like so, okay? Just a little dab. And what that does, I'm giving you pearls here, okay? What that does is keeps the pie from sliding off the plate or around on the plate. And whenever you cut pie or cake, you always wipe off between each slice so you don't get the crumbs on the edge of your pie. You got a nice clean slice. You come in with a small spatula. You set that on top of your whipped cream. And that keeps you from sliding all over the place. Now, if you want, you can sprinkle a little bit of these crumbs. You can put a little bit of sauce if you'd like. But this white chocolate pretzel crust gives you a nice layer of flavor. It's crunchy. This is a nice thick piece of key lime pie. And you know, that's what I'm looking for when I get a piece of pie. I want a nice thick slice. Smooth, creamy, nice sourness, not too sweet. Greek yogurt really gives you an extra layer. Buy your own pretzels, get a good white chocolate, make your own crust from scratch. If you do have the availability of getting a good white chocolate pretzel, then use the white chocolate pretzels. But this is the way we make our key lime pie, and we know you're going to love it. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you soon on the next one.